Hello, everyone. My name is Tina from Quantum Healing with Tina and Karen. I'm a Beyond Quantum Healing practitioner, spirit releasement therapist, and intuitive empath. And today we're here with Karen.
Hey everybody, I'm Karen, intuitive starseed, energetic healer, remote spirit release practitioner, BQH practitioner too, channel medium, and what else? Psychic surgeon.
All the things.
I added it. Welcome.
Welcome. Yeah, so we just wanted to do this short video just to check in with you guys and catch up a little bit. We had our vacation and we actually had good intentions of checking in with you guys while we were on vacation, but we did not have good internet or Wi-Fi connection where we were at all. And plus we were just really busy being present and, having a good time. So
yeah, it was really fun to get out and actually disconnect. I thought that was a really big thing, not being online at all. I think we would that's our first vacation, like being in business together, that we didn't know how to be on vacation in business together. So we didn't set up any like rules. Like we would just check, like she'd be driving, Tina would be driving, and I would be like, answering emails or trying to get touch base, but yeah, we have to be a little more organized next time. I think this was a perfect, way for us to know what we need to do for next time so that we can be in a better headspace so that we don't feel guilty if we're not responding right away, or so. But apart from that, everything was it was really magical. Like everything that we had seen, it was really nice to get out there in a different place altogether, being deep in the mountains up in PA, and yeah, just all the magic stuff that we've seen on our trip together. Yeah, there's just so much stuff that happened, and how much we've claimed dominion. Tons of miles.
yeah, over 2,400 miles of claiming dominion. That was amazing.
Yes. Yeah. And it took us everywhere.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Like the Google Maps just like took us exactly where we were meant to go. Because on the way up there to this, it's called, I keep wanting to say Sleepy Hollow, but it's not. It's called Frosty Hollow Bed and Breakfast in Caldersport, Pennsylvania. It's this beautiful place. It really is like a little slice of heaven, like carved out in the mountains, like
in God's country.
In God's country, yes. So they had emailed us and said, we've noticed that a lot of people are getting these really kind of wonky directions up here that are taking people down dirt roads and all these crazy ways to get here. So I'm like, oh no, what should we do? And I really felt called to take that way that they were saying not to take, because it was a beautiful drive. It was like it was just like a 2-lane road for over 2 hours through the mountains and these windy roads. It was the most beautiful drive I've ever had in my life. It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the weather was nice. It was daylight. There wasn't any rain. It wasn't nighttime. Because I actually called to check with the guy at the desk, and he's like, yeah, you'll be fine. If you're used to driving on roads like this and it's daytime, it's not raining, so you'll be fine. But at nighttime, like driving there.
Oh no. It was hard even just to drive in Wilkes-Barre when we were driving to your aunt's house that night, and we were going through, like, I think how fast were we driving? Not that fast. Like literally like a slow drive with the high beams on, and it felt like we were on like this dark roller coaster. And it's like you don't know, you can't even see the edge over where we're going.
Yeah.
And we could be falling off a cliff. We don't know. Like
it's like you come to the top and you're like, where are we going now?
Yeah. And then you're like, okay, turn. Turn slowly. Yeah. So it was, I could see how it could be really scary, especially for city people. And when you told me that, they're like, well, it's the city folk that have issues with it. I was like, yeah, because they are probably full of entities, one, and they don't like going into these types of peaks and valleys, like literally peaks and valleys. And it was amazing to see that in the daytime, just how, I don't know, just especially like when we would finally get to a part in the road where you could see both openness on like both sides, and just how vast the land is and beautiful and full of life it was. And you kept saying, you're like, how is it that we're overpopulated when there's just so much, like you could fit tons of people just right here and make homes right here. But that's another video.
Yeah, I mean, the land in just in this country alone is vast. The land is vast. I mean, we are so far from being overpopulated, but it was just amazing. And so many things happened on that drive. We saw a deer on that. That was the strangest thing, because I was feeling them like as we were driving, just like waiting for any moment for one to pop out. And then all of a sudden we drive past this, it was like a scene out of a movie. There was a
Yeah.
deer on the side of the road, just kind of like frozen there. And there was a man in the middle of nowhere walking on the other side of the road, pointing to the deer to make sure that we saw it and wouldn't hit it. I was like, what just happened?
Right.
Like, this is not a road that anybody would be walking down. Like, it's literally in the middle of nowhere.
Right. And we even questioned, we're like, we don't even know if that guy was really there. Like, was it real?
Right.
Just
Or
someone
was
just
he like an angel in human form, like.
right, because I felt like the guy behind like was he ended up honking, but I think he said he was honking at the deer to get out of the way. I thought he was honking at us like for like slowing down for, or something like that. Or I don't know. I just thought the whole thing was just crazy, because we even saw the deer also when we were driving to Wilkes-Barre too. We saw the deer when we went to go see Natalie. We saw another deer at your aunt's house the day before. Or
Then
whatever. Yeah,
here.
here. Oh yeah, or at your aunt's, and then it was here at your place, and then Natalie's up in New Jersey, and then going to Wilkes-Barre. I don't know. There's a bunch.
Going
It
to
was just
Wilkes-Barre,
consecutive days.
yeah, as soon as we turned into my aunt's, like the road that goes up the mountain to her house, it was on that road. The deer, and there was a bunch of them, and there were babies again. We kept seeing the baby deer.
Yeah.
So there were babies and the mothers. And you could see like their eyes in the thing in the bushes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Sweet Tooth.
Yeah.
They turn off the light and it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. And then so we saw that one with the guy was pointing to going up the road to Frosty Hollow. And then the first night we were there, I felt them around. We both felt them there, but we couldn't see them. And I was like, so we stayed in this little tiny cabin, cottage, and it was the house of the original owners of that land. And their pictures were on the wall from like the 1800s. We could feel them there. And out back of this little cottage was this beautiful, big, grand tree. It was so pretty, and it sat up on the hill. And I remember like going out there at nighttime and just like standing under it and looking around for the deer, because I could feel them, but I could never see them. And then the next day at breakfast, this guy comes up to us named Dale, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are in the cottage, right?" And we're like, "Yeah." He's like, "There was a deer like right next to your car last night." I was like, oh my God, I knew it.
I know we couldn't see very much because it was like pitch black. That's why I wish just can't see very much. But I think that would have freaked me out though if I saw like two glowing eyes like in the thing. And I'm like,
But well, that was really the point of going all the way up there, was to see the dark skies. and to go to the Cherry Springs Park to see the stars. However, it was really overcast the whole time we were there. We never really got to see that, but it was just a beautiful and magical experience. A butterfly flew over our car right as we were pulling in, and they kept flying, like the whole road up there, the butterflies kept flying over our car. And
Yeah.
we stopped at this little place to kind of take a break and stretch. And there were two butterflies flying around together right around the space where we
Yeah.
were standing. And then as soon as we pulled into Frosty Hollow, the butterfly came over the car. And then as soon as we pulled into the cottage, there was this little bird sitting on our deck, like just saying hello. It was just sitting there like, welcome.
Yeah.
And it was just the coolest thing. I mean, there were so many
There were
like
so many welcoming, like the nature was just open and vast, like we said, and it was just welcoming us there. And there was just so much to discover, like just walking around and the fascination of how nature works. Like, you know, how we were just staring at like the little nests that they had made right near the what do you call that room that
in the
that they
farmhouse.
yeah, in the
Yeah.
farmhouse. Yeah, there's just so much to look at. I don't know. It was so
Yeah.
quiet though.
It
But
was so
yeah,
quiet, so peaceful. It felt so good not to have like to feel all the frequencies that we're so used to being immersed in all the time, all the
yeah, it was
Wi-Fi and
clear.
5G and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, I had no cell phone service at all. And we had like the Wi-Fi there was really wonky. So
Mhm.
yeah, it felt so good just to like breathe that clean air and
Yeah.
be, like just be. We didn't have to do anything or go anywhere. Even though we did go on adventures, it felt good to just be there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I just love sitting out on the porch. It was just so, it was a cute little place that we had like for the first 2 nights. And like not really, Coco loved it. Like he just wanted to go out and like he was just hopping around and
Yeah.
meeting the other dogs of the, you know, that live there and everything, and meeting the other dogs that were coming to visit. And
Yeah.
there was like a nice stream of water that was passing through too. So I mean, there's just so much going on, but
It was
yeah, it
so
was,
perfect. Like it was a
yeah,
scene, it was like a scene out of a movie. That's what I felt
yeah,
like I was in a movie, like where they're at one of those like really cool places where it's just like perfect. It was so perfect.
yeah.
And we met the coolest people, like Dale. We met up with a couple times, like for breakfast and things like that. And I felt like spirit was working through him. It definitely was. The fact that he saw the deer and told us about it the next morning at breakfast, like he didn't just happen to talk to us. Like that was all divinely orchestrated. And the fact that he even told us about going to Kinzu Bridge,
Yeah.
that was somewhere we were definitely meant to go for claiming dominion as well as just for our own enjoyment. But that was a really cool place too. It's an old train bridge that went across the mountains like over the valley, and it was built in like the 1800s, like in record timing. And it had
Something like 90 something days, right?
Yeah, it was really fast.
Thank you.
They built it. It's amazing to me how they could do those kinds of things like in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was built really fast. And then they redid it again, I think in the 1950s, and made it, instead of iron, they replaced it with steel. And then in 2003, a tornado came through and took almost the whole thing out. So it was all still there, like all the steel was like laying on the valley floor, and you could walk out on the actual bridge itself and kind of overlook and see it all. That was
Yeah.
a really cool experience.
Yeah. They made that part like a lookout. So they closed it off. So you could kind of like look over and see like all the remnants of everything that had fallen through. And you could, if you were to like look forward, because we had like binoculars, you could see like the other side. And then, yeah, you could go down and hike and see like much more closer of of everything that had fallen down. We were gonna venture on it, but I was like, I don't know. We don't have like the right attire. Did we have foot? No, we had shoes
Well,
on.
we left Coco at home that day because he was so tired out from our adventures. So I didn't want to
Yeah.
leave him that long, too. So yeah, we didn't. But yeah, I would have loved to like hike down there to see it like up close. But I just thought it was interesting how everything worked out so perfectly. I feel like, when you're really in alignment and in that flow and following your higher self and where spirit is guiding you, everything just happens so effortlessly, right? And on the
Absolutely.
way, wasn't it on the way back from there that we saw the deer park, or on the way back from Colton
It was
State?
on the way back. Yeah, we saw it. Yeah, because we were still staying there, and yeah, we saw that deer park thing. Deer
That
from
was
Russia.
It was a little strange, that place. No, that was after we went to Colton State Park, which is the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon. So we went there for the day, did a little bit of hiking down this like really difficult trail, trying to see the waterfalls. We
We
never,
heard it,
we heard it, yeah, but
but it
we
was too
never,
much to bring Coco down there too. Like it was way too much for us.
yeah, that was a really difficult hike. Like they weren't kidding when they wrote that in the brochure, because like you had to like scale
Go
down
down these
rocks.
rocks.
Yeah. Yeah. So we tried, but we didn't make it. It was too hot too. But yeah, I would love to go back there again and do that hike. Um, but yeah, on the way back from there, which it was beautiful to like go to that lookout and see the whole they call it the canyon. It's
Mhm.
called Pike or Pine Creek Gorge. That was beautiful because like again a river runs through it. It's kind of like just like the Grand Canyon but on a much smaller scale, but
Yeah,
still really cool.
it was
Yeah,
really nice.
yeah,
Everything we saw was really nice. Even like when we saw the ice mine on the way out and everything like that, which was cool. It's like July, right? When we went, and there's like this huge piece of ice that somehow gets like it only comes in the summertime, right? And they don't understand, the scientists don't understand why it does that because it melts in the winter and then comes back in the summertime.
yeah,
Certain phenomena.
yeah. That was really cool. Um, yeah, and so then we stopped at this place called the Deer Park, and as we were driving by it, I saw the sign, and I was like, "Oh, there's a deer park. I wonder if there's real deer there." And Karen's like, "Yeah, there's real deer there." So I'm like, "No way." She's like, "Yeah, I just saw them." I'm like, "Okay, well, let's turn around and let's go there."
Yeah, you pulled like a, what do you call it? Like, I don't know. It was very movie
See?
like. You're just like, "Woo!" Like it wasn't that dramatic, but I mean like we were like in the middle and like no cars were coming on the highway or whatever it was, and we're just like turn back and go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like really cool. It was sad too, because you're just like, I hope they're being taken care of. There's so many babies there, and
Yeah, and the owners were a little bit strange. Um,
yeah, strange, very strange. They had weird, especially that man had weird energy.
yeah, yeah,
The ice, yeah.
yeah. But it was really cool to see them up close, to feed them, and just to be in their presence, like that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so on the way home from that trip, we took this alternate route, which took us, so we went like up 44 north through the mountains, claimed dominion that way, and then on all of our little adventures while we were up there. And then we took the other way home. So we went east and then south back to Wilkes-Barre. So we claimed dominion on that route and then the other way down. And like all of our trips ended up like that, where
Yeah.
we took like one way there and the other way home so that we could claim dominion in different places. I thought that was really cool.
Every place, every which way that we did was exactly like that. Even the way that I came to see you, like when I drove in, brought me a different way for me to come back. on my usual way. So there was definitely something happening there. I guess when you set that intention anyway, that you're gonna do it, it's gonna be like, all right, you know, say no.
Yeah. 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 It's just like setting that intention to do it and doing it. And then it all works out, you know? Yeah. Are the kids back yet?
Well, I told them, I texted them to see, like, to let me know when they're outside. But so far,
We're under a little time crunch here. Um,
well, worst case, I mean, they're gonna ring the bell.
huh.
But I said worst case, they'll just ring the bell.
Okay.
But yeah, it was really fun. And our next thing that we're looking into is going to the Carolinas. Don't know how we're gonna do it. Like if we're gonna take my car again, or if we're gonna, like, we really want to rent a camper or anything like that. So yeah, if you guys want to sponsor something there, leaving that out in the
Yeah. Yeah. And then we came home for a couple days from that trip. It was really great to see my aunt and my cousin too. So we drove up from Clayton, New Jersey to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, to where my aunt and my cousin live. And we hung out there for like a day and a half before we went up to Frosty Hollow. And then we came back there and stopped again. So it was really great to get to see them.
Yeah.
And you're also like your first experience with horses.
Yeah, it was really cool because Tina's cousin, he races horses and he's making his own stable and doing his own thing. And yeah, that was the first time I saw a horse race. So that was a 360 because I remember I said that to you like a long time ago, and you're like, I'll bring you to a horse race. Like, we'll go. Like, all right. And then we ended up doing it. And yeah, first time like really coming face to face with a horse and just looking at them in the eyes and communicating that way was really cool. And yeah, that word majestic was really just there. They are so majestic, so beautiful, so soulful,
Yeah.
and so kind. The eyes are so kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was Coco's first experience meeting a horse too.
I thought that was the cutest thing. Like he's just as big as the horse, you know, and he's going there and like the horse is bringing his nose down and they're just kind of like smelling each other. It was cute.
Yeah.
It was really cute to see.
And it's amazing how they can just have that connection. Like Coco's not afraid, like he wasn't afraid, like he was excited to be there and to go into the stable, and he wanted to go to every single horse stable and check them out. And then like he got really bold and started barking at them.
Yeah. He's like, hey, how come you're not looking at me?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what he wanted them to do, but yeah, that was a really cool experience. And that was a beautiful farm too. That place was gorgeous. Those
Yeah.
horses were all so well taken care of. They had this beautiful place to be in. Yeah, that was a good experience. And then, so we came home for a few days, and then we went back out to, where did we go?
We went to the Cape May County area to go visit Aunt Bonnie's trailer out in Pine Haven.
Oh
Is that
yeah,
what it's called?
the pines were a big part of our trip too.
The pines, the deer, the elk.
The elk, yeah.
The elk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we stayed at her aunt's trailer for a couple of nights too. So we had like beach time and lake time. It was fun. It was really cool just to be out and being by the beach and seeing the shells and the little like crabs and everything like that. I don't know. Everything was just fun.
I never
No
saw
swimming.
those crabs before. What were they called? Ghost crabs?
Ghost crabs. Yeah.
They were so cool.
Yeah. They were fast too.
Yeah.
Just how they would just be like going side to side, like hammer time for real.
Yeah, there are these like big holes on the beach. Karen thought they were for umbrellas.
The city girl don't know anything. I
That's
go, these
really,
are perfect holes for your umbrellas. No? Like, don't put your umbrella in there. I'm like, right. Oh, but it would be a perfect hole for the umbrella. Yeah,
yeah.
they're perfect holes. It's crazy how nature does what it does.
I know,
It's,
like how can a crab make a hole that perfect, you know?
yeah, and symmetrical and as if it's like for a pole. You would think like with its little things, it would be like, and it wouldn't look like that. It would look like,
Yeah.
cut hair. I don't know,
Right.
layers, feathering, but no, perfect circles. I think it takes like what I see, it just takes it and just does this. But who the hell knows? I don't know. Should attach a GoPro to a ghost like a crab.
Yeah. Well, it was cool because we went to a beach that not a lot of people go to. You don't have to pay to go there. You can bring your dog. Like
Yeah,
it was
everyone
just,
minding their own business.
yeah, everybody was like minding their own business. There was no like police there monitoring everything, like it felt like Freedom Beach. You could just do whatever
Yeah.
you want. And there weren't a lot of people there. So that was really nice. And so, like to sit there and like watch the crabs. And you could see too, like when a bird would fly over, they would like scoop back into their holes because the birds eat them, right?
Right.
So yeah, that was cool to watch and how they interact with each other.
What was that
And
beach called? Strathmere? Is that right?
Strathmere, yeah. It's called Whale Beach, because unfortunately, like a lot of whales have beached there. I'm not sure why, but yeah. Um, I really enjoyed it there. I think that was my most favorite beach in New Jersey so far.
Yeah, it's beautiful there. I
Yeah,
really like what I appreciated the most was that it was not crowded.
yeah,
So you could really you were able to breathe.
yeah. The
My big
yeah, the only thing though, the only drawback, it was that like there was stairs to get up to it.
oh, like carrying all the shit.
And it was a long walk to on the beach. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We were like carrying everything. I don't even know how we did that. And your aunt like put her chair in and she was waiting in the Jeep for us.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's like, oh my god, I have to like drag this whole thing. Goes terrible. But yeah, that was the only drawback. But
That was Coco's first beach day too.
well, he went to the one when we went to see Natalie.
Oh, that's right. He did. So that was
But
his,
this was a much more calmer. It wasn't windy. It wasn't the waves weren't scary or anything like that. I thought that was maybe a little bit stressful for him when we
Mhm.
were there with Natalie. But this was a lot calmer. He loved it, getting bathed, like just putting water on him and
Yeah. I was surprised too because he started to get really used to the water and he would even walk into it by himself.
yeah. Yeah, he was a really brave boy.
Yeah.
But I think by the end of our trip, he was always so excited to go on his adventures. So I think he was well adapted with the road trips and everything like that. I think we did pretty good for the first road trip with him too.
Yeah.
He adapted.
He adapted. Yeah. He had his days like where he just was like, leave me alone. Like, I don't want to go anywhere, you know?
Well, we
But
would do adventure. He would stay adventure. He would stay and we needed that too to rest.
yeah.
Would we be out of commission? I'd be like, oh my God, we have to work today all day.
Yeah. Yeah. We kind of like did our work in between everything. And we're kind of like just catching up on everything now to where it feels like you can breathe again. But we just had such a huge, amazing session. Was that yesterday? No, 2 days ago. Um, with a lot of like secret space program information and like governmental experimental kind of stuff. So that was really heavy, but there was a lot of really amazing information that came through that. And one part in particular that I can't even really articulate right now. I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen to it and really digest everything that was said. Um, it was about something about this particle and how the earth and everything on it has kind of been like infused with this anti-life particle and
Causing
information,
the separation between everything.
right, causing the separation. And then she also gave information on how to counteract it and how to not counteract it, but to integrate it. So yeah, there's a lot there.
Yeah. It feels like we've already been touching up on that very, very small, because it's more so with our COVID vax clearings where we've touched up on this anti-life particle. I do feel it is relative to, I don't know if anyone here has listened to the ones that we've posted so far, but the ones where the cells have been taken over, let's say by artificial intelligence. So taking the nucleus, the brain of the cell out to be replaced by this inorganic artificial intelligence, and therefore will multiply with this inorganic intelligence. And then weeding out the organic. So it felt like that to me. That's exactly how I saw it, and how but she went a little more deeper into the explanation. And again, like I was saying, like, when you just grasp it and then it's so brief and then it lets go. It was like that. And I was like, no, I just had it. I just saw it, and I understand it. And then I was like, but do I understand it? Because it's so deep, but it's so simple. It's really just the spaces in between everything are like inorganic and anti-life. So I mean, like, we're kind of used to that by now because they've been doing this for eons and eons and eons.
7,000
But
years.
technically, yeah. So technically, we shouldn't be having these things or feelings. Like, I mean, and I think the best way to look at it is the feeling of separation, or thinking that we're separate.
Right.
That's a much more bigger scale of it. But if you look at it on a microcosm, it's like the space in between those things. You know what I'm saying?
The space in between the particles, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the space has been hijacked by that anti-life particle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. A lot to
Yeah.
unpack with the SSP stuff, the government stuff. Yeah.
There's
And,
just tons. I
yeah.
think that'll be like another video. I think like when we finally get able to digest it and be able to articulate it, like you said, then we can talk
Right.
about it. But I think right now we're really like in the beginning stages of uncovering things, because like we're, even for us, like for Tina and I, we're just trying to, I'm still in a very doubt stage of it. Like, am I one? Was that just like a fluke instance that we had discussed earlier? Like when I had a legit live trigger in front of Tina and our client. And I was just like, I don't know if that was just a coincidence, or is that real? Like, is that relative to what we're diving into? So there's still that piece of doubt inside of me that's just like, no, you're a goofy girl, and there's no way you're doing this. So like, it can't be. So hold on. We're outside. Okay, that's nice of them too. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
well,
well,
I guess that's it.
yeah, the kids are saying it's done. So thank you very much, everyone who had come by. If you have any questions about our trip and stuff, you can always look on our website on the About Us or tab. Yeah, if you scroll down, you'll see pictures from our trip. So you can kind of see like the kind of things that we did, and that's it.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time.
All
Good
right.
luck.
And don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay.
Yes.
Comment down below. Okay.
Bye, guys.